If you would rather listen to this episode as a podcast so you can download it or listen on the go, you can click the link in the description to check out our Spotify page where we upload all of our reviews and longer content as podcasts.
What is up, my Plocasters, and welcome back to another in-depth review of Bad Batch Season 1, this time episode 14, War-Mantle.
Oh yeah.
Before we kick things off, just a quick heartfelt thank you from me and Evan for, one, blowing up that video, that reaction. I think it's at 1.4 thousand views right now. Thank you very much. And two, 300 subs? Let's go. Welcome to the Plocast family. Everyone here.
Like it's crazy. I mean, honestly, like you compared to a lot of YouTubers out there, that's like not that big of a milestone at all. But think about like an auditorium with 1.4 thousand people and showing them something that you made, or even 300 for that matter, is really cool. So thanks for picking us, I guess, to fill your free time.
Yes, crazy thankful.
But we'll quit rambling and we'll get into this review, which hopefully will be under an hour. We try to make it under an hour every time, but a couple times it slips past. But yeah, clearly a very popular episode due to the amount of views we got. War-Mantle was a pretty good episode, one of my favorites of the season. I think we should start off with the title characters, the Bad Batch themselves, because they were actually in this one and they had things to do for once. Just kidding. But yeah, we had some. I'll start with our girl Omega because she seems to be a priority of the writers this season. You brought up an interesting point a couple episodes ago how in the one before this one, when the filler one, when she was just all about kind of just saving people and like that was about it. We do see that again here in this scenario. We see her, she's like, oh, well, it's Rex's friend, we gotta help. And some people are, comparing that to the fact that she, she's young and she doesn't really know much about the world. And she kind of wants to just help everybody that she can. But this case, I feel like it was better than that filler episode because she knows Rex and she knows Rex is a friend of the Bad Batch. So a friend of Rex's would be a friend of hers. So I guess, to me anyways, it makes sense that she would, feel that way towards somebody who's a friend of somebody she knows. But since you were the one that brought that up before, I want to know how you feel about this case.
Yeah. Just real quick, I want to say that I didn't really mind it this episode. I know some people were more displeased than others, but one, I did notice it. Because of the filler we're calling it the filler episode. It was a filler episode. But again, when you like we mentioned it before, when you do stuff like that, when you do filler like that, and like we have moments of her like, oh, we have to help. Like I've seen that 3 times already, 2 times last episode. So it waters down the effect of this episode when in its own bubble, like it makes sense. Like you said, it's Rex's friend. We have to help. Like that's what they did with Echo. Echo chimed in too. Like it would have made sense.
It's a clone.
But yeah, but it takes away since last episode we had it. But moreover, even like without that in mind, I think I'm okay with it more because this time it doesn't work out in the end. This time, and we'll get into it, Hunter, or not, yeah, Hunter gets, why did I, okay, whatever, he gets captured. So we see like Omega says, oh, we gotta help, gotta do the right thing, and she doesn't like end up on the good side being the hero. Or I guess like they get Gregor, but there's a flaw, like it doesn't go right while everything has been going right. So I'm interested next episode, we're definitely gonna see more of it. And I think that'll flesh out like more than we have been getting of Omega's character. I think when you when you have low moments, it highlights your highs. So to see Omega, like she lost Hunter this time instead of like them losing Omega, I think it's going to be really cool. So that's why, like, although she was again kind of that plain kind of just, oh, we got to help. I think, I hope it'll change, if not next episode, by the end of the season.
Yeah. It's not even that's like a bet. That really makes sense for a character having lived on a Kamino her whole life, and she really doesn't know much. She sees the Bad Batch, who she sees as like these heroes that save people. So obviously, when she's part of the team, her instinct and the thing that she's gonna want them to do together is save people.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like that's out of character. It's just we've seen it a lot, and I think they could change that up in a way where something happens after they go try to save someone, like she suggests, and it goes very wrong. Now, this did kind of go wrong. Hunter got captured, so potentially, if this scenario were to arise in the future where there's somebody worth saving, maybe she'd be a little bit more reserved. Like, I don't know, last time we tried to go out on a limb and help somebody, Hunter got captured, and I really don't like that. So maybe this could be like a tipping point for her character. I think it would be more effective if like they went to save somebody and like either A, they go to do it and it goes completely wrong. They don't save the person, maybe the person dies and they lose somebody else. Or B, they save the person and that person then backstabs them or something like that. And that sort of adds a little, it shows Omega that, hey, whoa, everything's not like I thought it was. I used to be trying to help everyone that I could. But I see now that a lot of people are just want to backstab you. So, maybe something like that could maybe put a little twist on it. Because as she is now, she really wouldn't see it that way. She'd see everything more as, well, let's help everyone. But because she hasn't had an experience like that, but maybe what happened here could be like a little bit of a sort of beginning of her feeling a different way.
Yeah.
But we'll have to wait and see.
No, exactly. Add a couple extra layers to who Omega is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. But the last couple things I had on Omega, we had a cool little scene at the beginning there when we first cut to the batch on their shuttle. Hunter's playing with his knife. He's flipping it around in his hand, doing some funny knife tricks. Omega notices while she's using a soldering tool or something on Gonky, and she starts flipping the knife in her hand. And she actually does it pretty well too. Like
Yeah.
she like rolls it between her fingers right away, which is pretty cool. Normally in a situation like that, you think the kid would try to do that and they would drop it and they would mess it up, but she actually kind of does like a little flick with it, which is kind of cool. So just more of those details of her, mimicking Hunter and showing that, like, sometimes you forget the fact that she's like a highly technologically advanced clone instead of just a kid, and then they show little details like that and it reminds you, oh, wow, yeah, that's right. She can, she's capable of things.
Yeah. I don't even think I could flip a knife or
Yeah, no, me neither.
a tool like that.
Yeah. Another little example of that is when she quickly comes up with the idea when the shuttle is like dying, it's losing power. She comes up with the idea to plug in Gonky to power the shuttle, which was another cool little moment there. But yeah, Omega was there. But yeah, how about you? Anything else?
I was gonna say we finally see a Gonk droid like in action, being used for what it's used for.
Yeah. Other than like walking around and saying
Just
gonk.
gonking around. Yep.
That's got to be a thing. Just gonking. What are you doing? Oh, I'm just gonking.
Just gonking around,
You know what I mean? You know how it is. But yeah, anything else on Omega here? Because she didn't really have a huge role, but she was there.
Yeah, no, I think the one thing in our reaction though is with her piloting, we thought she would do a little bit more since they made her the thumbnail. But again, we addressed that. It kind of made sense of where you don't really want Omega piloting in the heat of battle. Even if she is as experienced as Hera was, like in the last couple episodes, it still makes sense to go to Tech or really anyone else.
Right. Yeah.
Which, like, again, her role was limited, and like honestly, that the thumbnail really bothered me. Like thinking again, that's why I'm bringing it up again. I get why they did it, but it's just like, oh, Omega's gonna do something cool, and then she's just kind of playing again this episode. But I don't, she wasn't bad. I'm not saying she did bad this episode. It's just it could have been more, I guess.
That really didn't bother me as much because in that situation, it makes absolutely zero logical sense for Omega to remain piloting this. She literally couldn't control it. Tech had to come in and grab the controls because she was like tipping over. It made sense for her to come pick them up real quick, but once you got like 17 V-wings and a bunch of gunships and all, like you're getting shot at, it makes sense that okay, hand it over. You're barely training.
Yeah. To be fair, I am indeed nitpicking. Just so out there, everyone knows, I'm just nitpicking at the thumbnail. That's all I wanted to get off my chest.
Yeah. Ooh, the last thing I didn't write this down, but I mentioned it in the video. The I don't know how to. It's either Michelle Ang or Michelle Ange or however you pronounce her name, but she's voice actress for Omega. Her
Mm,
performance right at the end, when she's pleading with everybody to go back for Hunter, when she's telling Hunter, please tell him to order them to come back and save you. That I thought that was a really good performance, and that really helped the scene. That was the biggest part that made that scene for me. I feel like without something like you heard her voice like cracking, and she was like she felt like helpless, and
yeah,
she wanted to go get. She was mad. That performance really shined to me, and it really made that scene.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, there's like a strain in her voice. It
Yeah,
was yeah.
yeah. Well, Omega was not the only character that had some development in this episode. We actually got a little bit of character from Echo.
Mm.
Now, yes, no, he was not Tech getting development, but it's okay. Echo and Tech have been the two duds of the crew for me.
Yeah.
More so Tech because we've had all of Clone Wars to develop Echo's backstory, so it's not like we don't care about him. Um, but there was, we know from season 7 of Clone Wars, the Bad Batch go to Skako Minor and they save Echo from Wat Tambor and plugging him into that machine for the Separatists. And that's how Echo sees this situation. He sees this clone, this friend of Rex, as himself. And he had that line where we had just as much information. You guys had just as much information when you came to Skako Minor, and you saved me. If you didn't do that, I'd still be there. So if we don't go save this clone, he could just remain locked up forever. Which I thought was really cool. That ended up being the reason they went on the mission because Tech and Hunter were like, "All right, this is an Imperial base. We have no clue where he is or who he is or what's happening. We're out of here." But Echo was the one that made him realize, like, no, if we have a chance to save this person, we should. And I also really liked the lines earlier on about the fact that this came from Rex. I think if this mission came from anybody other than Rex or somebody who wasn't as close to Echo as Rex was, I don't think he would feel as passionately about it, because Rex was his commanding officer. They were close friends in the Clone Wars, so he trusts Rex with like his entire heart. So if Rex's friend is in danger, he's definitely gonna. That shows their bond and respect for each other. And I just really thought Echo, shined in this episode compared to what we've seen of him in the rest of the Bad Batch.
This was the perfect opportunity to do something like this, to flesh them out like this, and I think they did it perfectly. I have no like you said, Tech, like there have been perfect opportunities for him, and they have not hit it. They haven't even tried. Um, so like they could have brought this up. They could have still had Rex like, "Hey, we need your help," and Echo could have said, "Yeah, we need to go." But no, they made him say, "Oh, Skeko Minor." They made him say, like you said, like, no, that's what you guys did for me. That was the whole reason
Right.
Echo joined the Bad Batch is because they saved him, and like he felt like he like belonged there. So
Yeah.
if they have an opportunity to do that for another clone, yeah, it makes perfect sense
Yeah.
that Echo would stand up like this. And it's
Especially a clone that's Rex's friend.
yup, because yeah. Oh, I was gonna bring it up too. That remember Rex was able to like. He's like, I think Echo's still alive. Like, just because of the battle plans, because of the droids. Like that's how close they are. He didn't like. He just like on a hunch they did that mission because Rex was like, no, I feel it. I feel it.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
how close you are. And then Rex is like, hey, go help out Gregor or my friend. He didn't say Gregor. And Echo's like, yeah, this is like he put his foot down, and I think this is the perfect spot for him to do something like that. So I was very satisfied with this. This
Yeah.
is we've been talking about it, we've been missing it all season. And this was awesome. I very
Felt
like
very
this was
good.
one of the I have two, maybe three highlights for this episode, and this is definitely one of
Yeah, definitely. Um, Moving on to the other members that sort of were just there, I guess.
them.
Wrecker, I'm gonna give a pass to because Wrecker's had his little arc, his whole Order 66 thing. I'm satisfied with that. Wrecker's not like as deep that they could go as deep with the other characters, or they haven't shown that they could at least. So I was satisfied with that. I feel like he's had his little arc for the thing. It doesn't appear they're going insanely deep into characters like some thought. So what they did for Wrecker was, I feel like, was enough, and we still see more of him bonding with Omega. I really liked in this scene when everybody's talking about
Yup.
the plan,
I know
and
exactly what you're gonna say.
Tech's like, oh well, we don't know about this or something, and Wrecker's like, oh yeah, he's got a point, and then like Omega says something, and then he's like, oh yeah, well she's got a point, and then Echo says something. He's like, yeah, he's got a point too. I don't think that was the exact. I think it was Tech, Echo, and then Omega was the order. But it was just funny that he
Yeah,
just agreed with everyone because like
yeah,
he's like simple-minded, I guess. So he hears something, he hears a sentence that's like strong, that's somewhat coherent. He's like, yeah, I totally agree. That makes sense.
yeah, yeah. He wasn't being funny there. He was
Yeah,
just like,
it
yeah, that
just
he's
takes
got a
so little
point.
to convince him of things.
He has been on his jokes. Sometimes for me, like in shows like this, jokes don't really land. I'm like, whatever. But he's been genuinely funny.
Yeah, and even when it's
Just
not like doesn't get a laugh, it's kind of like wholesome,
it's
just his
yeah.
personality.
Yeah. Even though we had our little bit of his arc there, which I'm satisfied with. It could, of course, it could have been deeper. All the characters could be deeper, but I think like he's been one of my favorite characters in the whole show.
Right. Now, I'm now we get to Tech here. This is like I was looking for something, like trying to like stretch this into from stretch nothing into something.
Mm.
But we got it was kind of cool to see or to continue to see more scenes of Tech being a pilot. Um, it could be purely coincidental, and they probably each member probably has just as much training in terms of flight.
Yeah.
But we saw in episode, God, I don't even 12, I think, was the second Ryloth episode. When Tech flies in with the shuttle and he's like whipping it around, and while Hunter's shooting down the turrets, he's
Tokyo
piloting that
drifting
thing
it.
really good. Yeah, he's doing crazy moves and stuff. We had more of that in this episode. Wrecker's shooting down the V-wings, but Tech was piloting that thing like crazy. He was, ducking and diving, making moves, getting getting the V-wings to crash into each other. That one move where he flew like straight down and then pulled it up at the very last second just to
Yup.
fly away. That was really cool. Um, I don't know. Maybe this is like this sort of subtle indication. This was my thought process. Like, oh, maybe there's like this. Maybe they'll bring out the fact that, oh, maybe secretly Tech really has had a joy for flying all along. Um, but then like I was crushed. I thought back to the first Ryloth episode, and they were on the moon, and Hera was talking about how like the feeling of flying, and how it makes you feel alive. And then they had Tech do a little one-liner where he's like, "What feeling?" or "There's a feeling," or whatever. So my theory just went right out the window immediately.
Yeah.
Um, it's me just trying to string together something. But I don't know, something like that could be cool. But just seeing like just barely, I feel like at this point we're not gonna get much in terms of text. So seeing at least this little bit that like we can sort of piece together that he's probably maybe a better pilot than the rest of them, something like that. I don't know, but just seeing him
Yeah.
pilot the ship like that just makes him cooler, I guess.
I see. I agree with everything you say, except I would say I don't think like it's enough. Like I want more. Like
No, it's
pilots,
definitely not. No.
like Han Solo, Poe Dameron, even Luke Skywalker. Being a pilot is dope. Like those are cool Star Wars characters, and it's an
Yeah.
easy character to just like you said, make it his secret joy. We haven't seen Tech find joy in really anything. He kind of just follows like along. Like he probably like finds joy in being with the group, but like when does he smile ever? Like make him crack a
Oh,
smile when he's Tokyo drifting. Like
yeah.
give me something.
That would
I
just be
would
like a
love it.
2-second
Yeah.
scene too. That wouldn't even
But
like
all
fill
I
a lot.
want. Yep. Yes. But I
Still
do
one of them.
agree. I do
Go
like
ahead.
watching them fly, though. Yeah,
Yeah.
I do like watching those little bits. It's just, it's like that's another, like I was saying earlier, where they have opportunities to just like you could slam dunk that home. They did it with Echo this episode, but we haven't seen it at all with Tech, and that's all I'll say on that. I know I ramble a lot. But it's again like that'd be like you were saying, it'd be so cool if he was just like that's his subtle passion, pilot.
Yeah.
Like
And if they were to make a season 2 and Tech gets, a little more development, that would totally, in my eyes anyway, would kind of just resolve that problem since it's both seasons. You're not just going to count one season, but like if you have a whole series, a 2-season series where each member gets their own moments of character growth and development, then yeah, I could maybe kind of forgive the lack a little bit, but still obviously
mm,
the whole first season he's kind of just nothing. But if eventually they sort of do a little bit of an arc for him, if there is a be second season, I don't think it's been confirmed. We haven't heard any news on that, so I don't know. But if they were to ever do that, I think that would be pretty fun. because it seems like every member at this point has had something other than him. But oh well.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's stay optimistic. We still have 2
Yeah,
episodes
yeah,
left.
2 episodes.
Who knows?
Maybe this next episode is a tech episode, and then the final episode is like extra long. It's
Yeah.
like 30-40 minutes. Who knows?
I would love to see that. But yeah.
But moving on from the batch, we got still a clone here. We have our boy Gregor.
Mm.
If you don't remember, he was in the D Squad arc of the Clone Wars, which, funnily enough, is George Lucas's favorite arc in Clone Wars. Where we have the D Squad. They find Gregor. I don't even remember the planet. It's like this It's like this dust planet that's all like dirt, sand, desert,
Desert, yeah.
flat, nothing. They find him. He has amnesia, and he's like a waiter at a cafe or at a restaurant. He eventually gets his memory back. He sacrifices himself at the end to save the Colonel and the droids to get them off the planet so they can warn the Republic. And we're led to believe that he dies in an explosion. But as we see in Star Wars Rebels later, season 2, I believe, so like 2015, we see that him, Rex, and Wolffe actually lived past Order 66 and into the days of the Rebellion. So, like, what happened in between? Now, we haven't gotten there in our series. I've seen it, but Paul hasn't. For those who don't know, we're doing a Rebels rewatch
Yes.
series. We'll continue that after Bad Batch. But in the Rebels version anyway, I guess we could just assume that he suffered a little bit of brain damage in that explosion because he's kind of like the crazy like trailer park uncle in that show. He's kind of out there. He laughs funny. He's got that high squeaky voice that we kind of hear start like we hear the beginnings of it in this episode. But yeah, Gregor is back. The voice thing was like really fun. I earlier in the episode in the reaction I was like, could this be Gregor? Maybe is this Gregor? But once he started talking, I immediately knew who it was because they had the little twinge there in the voice, the little peaking, the little sort of I don't know how. I'm not gonna try to replicate it. But that's how he sounds, and I like how they didn't go full Rebels. They kind of went for a mix of the base clone voice, and they added a little bit of his Rebels voice. Paul will hear it later on when we get to the show. Well, we're gonna get to the episodes anyway. But I thought that was really cool, and that was a really cool way to tip people off as to Gregor being.
Yeah, I knew he comes back in Rebels. Like I knew Rex did and Wolffe, but I haven't heard his voice in Rebels. I still haven't. So this was like a little surprise for me. I loved it. I loved the voice. I honestly can't wait to hear him in Rebels, and I'll hold off on watching it till we actually watch the episodes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really cool. I guess like in the explosion or whatever, it kind of messed with his brain. I've seen like people are saying that's probably how he managed to surpass Order 66, or how he's like able to like flee from the base and stuff. So that could explain. I guess that is the implication that his voice is like that. Because I didn't remember that voice at all.
Yeah.
But he didn't have that before that, so I wasn't missing that because that's pretty I guess iconic a little. But that was awesome. Him as a character, I thought, not in the same sense as Wrecker, but he provides some humor to the episode, which was cool. And I don't know, it's just cool to see familiar faces again. And I don't know if he'll stay with the group because he does wind up with Rex, and Rex isn't with the group. But I would honestly love to have him for the next 2 episodes. Just cracking jokes in his voice like that.
Yeah. Plus, it's always fun to get more Commandos. We have Delta Squad from Republic Commandos, and we have the Bad Batch they're not even really Commandos. They just kind of wear Commando-esque armor. But still, it's just cool to get more of those. But yeah, I mean, Gregor's arc, even if you've just seen Clone Wars, from like I think he's only in the last 2 episodes, going from someone with like amnesia to discovering he's a clone to being willing to fight for the Republic, and then sacrificing himself to save the Republic. Essentially, he essentially saves the Republic because if the Colonel and those droids don't get off the planet, they don't warn the Republic or about the Rhydonium bomb. Like ship that was going to crash into the Count the War meeting and kill like all of your important people. So he essentially saves the Republic after barely just remembering it. So his whole little 2-episode arc Made people love him a lot. Plus, his commando armor looked awesome. Seeing Commandos in action in Clone Wars was great, and seeing him here and then later on in Rebels is just just really really wholesome. I guess it's just fun. Like I'm just
Yeah,
when I see him, I'm
fun.
just happy. I'm like, oh yes, that guy, he was great, and I'm so happy.
That's
Um,
no, that's exactly right. Fun. Star Wars is fun, and
yeah,
Gregor is fun. I really liked
right.
him.
Yeah. But yeah, like you said, the explosion probably damaged or completely fried his inhibitor chip, so he didn't want to keep going along with the training of the stormtroopers, which we will talk about more later.
Ah,
But I
yes.
think I'm just gonna assume that that explosion is why. I mean, that was a lot of rhydonium, so I feel like anybody would have some problems after that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else on Gregor?
I have one more thing about Clone Commandos
Okay.
that I think is worth mentioning. Shout out Scorch from
Mm-hmm.
Elite Squadron.
Delta Squad.
Evan, Delta, yeah, Delta, not Elite Squad. Or what was the game called? The game was called
Republic
Delta
Commando.
Squad. Oh, okay, I'm all over the place.
It's
Anyway,
just, yeah, it's just called Republic Commando.
Evan did catch him in our review, though we didn't act like it. We were kind of in the moment. But more than that, more than just trying to cover our tracks, I think it was kind of cool again to see in a very limited role, a character like this where if you're not like Evan and I, if you're not super hardcore Star Wars fans, that's just another clone.
Right.
Which means they don't have to do that. They don't have to bring in another character like that. But to see that little thing, and they don't even say his name. He's only in a couple scenes. But they do. It takes him like three blaster shots to take him down. I think that was really cool.
Yeah.
But that was awesome. His armor looks cool. He looks cool modeled in the style,
Right.
and just bringing back little things like that is really what pushes you from like an okay show to like a really good show. So
Yeah.
it's awesome. They've done it before. They've done little things like that. So to see him again, it's really really cool.
That's how you tell the show is run by a fan of the series
Ah,
of the work.
don't get us
Um,
started on Filoni
yeah,
praise.
Filoni. Believe this is not the first time that Delta Squad has been canonized. We saw them in the Clone Wars in, I believe, it was the episode where Savage Opress is like unleashed against the Republic, and he just like massacres two Jedi. Delta Squad are actually the team that's sent to go like check on the base to see what happened, and they actually bring the Jedi's bodies back to the temple. So they Filoni canonized them years ago, and just the fact that he's popping another one in here is really cool. Um, but like you said, like just a regular fan is not gonna know who that is at all.
Yeah.
That game's not even canon anymore. We need a remaster, by the way, please and thank you. Um, one thing I at first I was like, man, I wish he talked or said or had some lines other than like
Yeah.
grunting, but I'm kind of glad he didn't because in Republic Commando, uh, all the commandos have different voices, significantly different voices. The Tamora Morrison plays Boss, but the other three all have very unique and distinct voices that are different. And I feel like if they had Scorch talk in just the regular clone voice, it would kind of, I don't know, it would just feel weird. I've already seen compilations on YouTube of people using his scenes from the episode, but putting Scorch's voiceover lines over top of it, and it's really funny.
That
Um,
sounds funny.
Obviously, they wouldn't do that in the episode because that
Yeah.
kind of doesn't flow in the canon because all the clones are supposed to sound the same. Even the Bad Batch, who are altered, sound pretty much the same.
Mhm.
So I guess I get why. I'm kind of glad that for that reason. That's why they didn't have him really have a lot of lines. But just it's cool to just know that they're still kicking around.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think like even more than that, I'm glad they didn't give any lines because it's like it's not too on the nose. It's just here's Scorch, if you know, you know kind of thing.
Yeah, and if you
Um
don't, it's just a cool commando
and if you
character.
don't, yeah, who cares? He looks cool. So I like how they're subtle with their callbacks.
Mhm.
It's really yeah. I mean, speaks for itself, I guess.
Yeah. And since we've already been on the topic now of other details in the episode, I guess we'll continue with that.
Oh,
Um,
segue for
we,
day.
I know. But we have a lot of stuff that's going on with the Kaminoens here. And obviously, the big
Mm,
plot here is with the Bad Batch and Hunter and all that. But we don't really know a lot. A lot's going down here. I think the Empire, it's kind of shown that they're okay. They're like, okay, we got to move on from Camino. We're done with this. I don't know if that means like either arresting and imprisoning the Kaminoens or straight up just murdering them all and blowing up the facilities, or like taking the valuable members like we saw them do with Nala Se and then killing off the rest. But Rampart at one point, Crosshairs asks him a question, and Rampart goes, "We have our orders." So clearly they have a plan in place here for the Kaminoans. Um, I feel like they're loose ends at this point since the Empire wants to move on. But they
Yes.
catch Nala Se trying to leave, but they keep her as a scientist. And then we see Lama Su get, like, I don't know, the door shut. Rampart says your services are like not needed or whatever. It doesn't say that exactly, but then we see two elite squad troopers go in, the door shuts, and that's it. We don't get any gunshots, blaster shots. We don't hear anything. So it was Lamasu killed or arrested? Are they going to interrogate him because he's a politician? Like Rampart said, they don't really need that. They have their own politicians. Whereas Nala Se, they can use as a scientist. But and they also the very beginning, one of his other lines was ensure every viable clone is mobilized. Mobilized where? Are they leaving
Yeah.
Camino? Are they going to fight or kill the Kaminoans? Like, there's a whole lot that could be going on here, and I want to know your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I like the way you put it, loose end. Because the Kaminoens, if it isn't known already, like if you couldn't already tell, they are great at what they do. Palpatine needed an army that he could turn against the own republic it was serving, and he didn't choose droids. He didn't choose anyone else. He chose the clones, him and his master Plagueis. So now that he doesn't need them anymore, the Kaminoans are still able to produce these like great warriors, these clone warriors, and he needs to kind of tie up that loose end. So for me, it's two options: either use them for your own good or evil, I guess, for the Empire, or make them never able to produce any more clones. So we know that the Empire does get into cloning, not the clones. Really, it's Snoke and the extra body for Palpatine in the sequels, as well as the experiments on
Nope.
Grogu with Dr. Pershing that we see, who does wear a Kaminoan badge, which makes me
Ooh.
think they do take it's Lamasu is the good one or
Yeah, no, Nala Se is the good one.
Nalase? Okay, I always
Nala
confuse that.
Se is the
Sorry.
scientist, Lama Su is the
Yes.
prime minister.
So okay. So I think they're gonna take her as a scientist. I know Star Wars Theory thinks that she's gonna work directly with Dr. Pershing. That might be why he's so kind to Grogu, kind of in the same sense that Nala Se is to Omega, where she actually cares for her clones. They're kind of like her sons and daughters, which I think is pretty compelling. But with the prime minister, that scene was very ominous. I don't
Yes.
think it was a mistake that two armed guards went in there. I don't think they killed him outright, but I think that Camino is likely to be ransacked, destroyed, whatever. All their machines are either going to be confiscated or destroyed, and that Nalase is going to be working under direct imperial supervision to where she's not going to like love what she does like she does now with Omega. She's going to have to kind of like almost like sweatshop vibes, like do what
Yeah.
Palpatine says, and because they are like a very powerful force, like they are not to be messed with or taken carelessly. So yeah, like mobilizing the clones again, another ominous thing. I don't know if we'll see a clone rebellion like we have seen
Yeah.
in the expanded universe. I think that would be dope. I would love that. But there's a lot more going on with this backstory, which is something that started in episode 1 that we haven't seen. So to get this kind
Um,
of mobilize the troops, there's two armed guards in it. Like I like that it's picking up again.
yeah, me too. And I'll say though, I really like how they've sort of, given her a little arc in the show because
Yeah.
earlier we found out that she actually hired Fennec to protect Omega and deliver her to Nala Se instead of just the Kaminoens, going behind the Prime Minister's back, who wants to hunt down the girl and use her for their purposes and kill her or whatever, and clone her and work on her, whatever. So we've already seen that she's like sort of sympathetic towards the clones. And then in this episode, we see her trying to take clone cadets off world. They're like, why are we
Mm.
going off world? Are we still, So, I mean, to me, that looks like she's trying to protect them because they're these clones are like their children essentially, and these cadets are especially young too. So it's like he was trying to protect this group of cadets, and subtle line here, but one of the cadets had a like he asked, "Will we be soldiers?" And the answer is most likely no. By the time they would be old enough to be
Yeah.
soldiers, the Empire is most definitely already on to Stormtroopers. And I thought that was a really cool way of, I guess not really well, I guess it could be foreshadowing or just referencing Project War-Mantle and the replacement of clones. Because no, you won't be soldiers. Because
Oh.
that question just being posed makes it seem like, oh, there's, wow, yeah, that's right. Now that I think about it, probably not. No, they won't be soldiers because by the time they're old enough to be soldiers, the clones will be gone and phased out. Um, and also, it seems kind of sad when the cadet says it, which is just another example of how they're programmed to want to be soldiers and want to fight for their cause, and just the idea, or like the idea that they won't be able to do that kind of upsets them, which I thought was two cool details about the clones programming, and as well as them, as well as Nala Se trying to take them off world and hinting at Project War Mantle.
Yeah. Which name of the episode?
Wow.
Look at that.
Speaking of the
Yo.
Stormtroopers, look at that.
I was waiting
And
for it.
calling back to our friend Scorch, we see the clone commandos are training these recruits. We know from other legend stories and other canon stories too that a lot of the high-ranking clone officers were the first clones, as well as the people who trained the stormtrooper recruits. They were a big part of training them and bringing them up to be soldiers. We're seeing that here. These squads of these stormtroopers are all human recruits led by a clone commando. So I just think that's very interesting, seeing them still being used. The commandos obviously being trained, they have more advanced training than the regular clones would be able to teach, these stormtroopers stuff that base clones would not. And I'm just glad we're seeing that. One
I,
thing that this made
oh,
me think of, sorry, 1 second. I just had a
yeah. Go ahead. No,
but
no.
like we see clones training recruits. I'm pretty sure, I don't know if it's legends or canon, but that's most likely what ends up happening to Commander Cody. So I'm
Hmm.
wondering, could we maybe get a little Cody cameo as a trainer for these stormtroopers? Like maybe right at the end, we see him take off his helmet after a training session. It's just like a little cameo, and you see the scar on his face, and you're like, oh, that's what happened to Cody. I don't know, something like that. Maybe bring it in here. But the main point is that it's
Ooh,
cool
Cody
seeing
cameo.
the clones being used for training these new stormtroopers.
Yeah. In my heart, Cody's he's somewhere training stormtroopers. Which isn't a very good thing, but that's in my head canon. But I did want to say that it was 50 clone commandos and 1,000 stormtroopers. That's kind of crazy that they already have 1,000 stormtroopers training,
Mhm.
because like in the public's eye, this is a time of peace. There is no war. There aren't rebels yet. There isn't an uprising. Like there's no civil, like there's nothing. And they're
Yeah,
already getting this many. That just shows like why they're switching. Palpatine's mind is, he wants, like, it's cheaper. There's just so many people willing to fight for the Empire, and here we see it. Like this is even a major detail in the episode, is like something that goes unmentioned, but like 1,000 men already, all
yeah,
armored
right.
up, all trained, like that's kind of crazy. Like
And that's just at this location. We don't even
that's
know how many
just
secret
here.
bases that they have.
There's like why would they be training? There is nothing going on like in the public's eye. Like so they're already, like, they have, I guess, the propaganda or whatever, the recruitment tools to already get 1,000 men just on one base station. Like that's that just should, like, the might of the Empire is a force to reckon with.
Yeah. Like the planet I believe is called Daro. It's completely uninhabited. Nobody lives there, and they put a base there because it's in secret. So we don't even know how many like planets that nobody lives on, that uninhabited planets that have secret Imperial bases like
Yep.
this.
Yep.
So it's just crazy to think about. But a little segue, the planet Daro actually, by the way, looks really nice. Like I wouldn't mind going there.
Yeah.
The animation on this planet was just insane. It was stellar. The first scene of the episode on the planet, when they pan down and you have the light from the moon shining through the trees in the forest, all the shots of the mountain, and then when they're standing on the cliffside, all those shots in the animation just looked really nice. I felt like we didn't have a natural spot to put that, so I wanted to pop that right there.
For sure. Somehow, some way, the animation gets better every episode.
It really does.
It really does.
Yeah. But yeah, on Daro is this Imperial base, um, and this episode actually has a lot of original trilogy music, or episode 4 music at least. We get a lot of the
Yeah.
or like themes that they use in episode 4, and like when the Empire's around, like da 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 da. It was really cool because that really helps bridge the gap from the prequels to the OT. Like it's
Mm.
funny because the beginning of the Bad Batch still kind of feels like the Republic. And then sort of where we are now at the end, you're like, okay, well, this is the Empire, but with Clone Wars characters. Um, just like the way the hallways look, we have Stormtroopers now. There's classic original trilogy music being played as like the main soundtrack. It just really bridges the gap and it makes it feel natural.
Yeah. You play original trilogy music over anything, and my heart skipped 2 beats. Doesn't matter what's going on. So that's just awesome to hear. Again, that's another little subtle thing that if you don't know, it's just oh, it sounds like, but it's a thematic change, like you're saying. Like, no, this is Empire now. This is original. But speaking of original trilogy, fun
Oh.
fact: the Stormtrooper prototype armor
Mm-hmm.
is the original Ralph McQuarrie art, the concept art for Stormtroopers.
Oh yeah.
Um, their helmets, their bellies, like everything matches up. I remember in the reaction, me and Evan were like, "Wait, are those clones Stormtroopers?" Like we couldn't tell because their helmets were so different. And that's why it's the original concept. We've seen like hints of Ralph McQuarrie concept art before in Star Wars, but to see like this is pretty much beat for beat like that. So that's super cool. I didn't even know that in first glance. I think I saw it somewhere online, but I looked at the original art. I was like, dude, like, oh snap, like
Yeah.
that's really cool. And that's another thing where like if you're not a super hardcore fan, if you have no idea who Ralph McQuarrie is, that means nothing to you. This is just cool in between armor, which it is. But then we have it again, kind of like Scorch, where it's just here's a little tease. Like we're fans, we know what's up. There you
Yeah.
go. But yeah, just all the incorporation of original trilogy stuff really gives you that feeling, like you were saying that oh, this is Imperial days. This is the Empire we're talking
Yeah.
about.
It also really helps with the sort of vibe that the Bad Batch are way out of their element here because the Bad Batch and these clones are
Mm,
distinctly prequel Republic era things, and seeing them mix with the Empire and then you have original trilogy music, it really helps say that whoa, these guys are out of their element. They're not really meant to be here. They really are, trying to find their place in this new world essentially, which I thought was really cool too.
yeah, that's a good point.
Um,
Yeah.
Speaking of the Macquarie stuff, Star Wars Rebels is basically entirely Macquarie concept art come to life.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
the whole. That's like the entire idea of the art style in Rebels is Macquarie-esque. Um, like the design for Zeb is one of the
Yeah.
original Chewbacca designs. Like it's just cool to see that again. I didn't notice it right away because I was just infatuated with the thought that maybe it was the like the Phase 3 sort of clone armor that we saw like for a little bit in the Force Unleashed. I I was dead set on it being that. I thought they went that deep into like this video game. If you know what I'm talking about, I don't know if it's just the PS2 version, but in the Force Unleashed in the beginning when you play as Vader, there's these 501st clones that come out. They have like this sort of clone stormtrooper hybrid armor. It's got like the offset knee pads, but like a clone stormtrooper mixed helmet with 501st mark. It looks really cool. I thought they might have been doing that, so I was like hyping that up. But really cool that the Macquarie concept art made it in there. That's obviously probably a little bit more popular than Force Unleashed.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, no, Seb was what I was hitting at when I said,
yeah.
yeah, other Raffle Core art.
Yeah. Um, one detail I noticed on the rewatch, uh, which I thought was really cool, is the entire chase scene. We never see the stormtroopers, or entirely anyway. We only see Gregor and we see the hounds. They did a really good job of hiding the armor for the big reveal later on. Like all we see is the hounds and the leashes, and then we get a couple shots at the very end of like from the knee down. And that's why you notice the commando. I said that there was one commando because you can tell what the commando armor looks like, and you know the commando knee pad. That's how I knew there was a commando there, so a clone. But there were two stormtroopers there. Now that we find out afterwards, but when you watch it for the first time, you don't notice that. All you see is from the knee down that it's just a trooper of some kind. They never show them fully, which I thought was a really cool detail. Other than knowing there's a commando, which could tip you off to the fact that hey, this clone is deserting other clones, or he's deserting the Empire now, because there's a clone there, and some people who aren't looking would probably just assume the other two that were with the commando were also clones. But it's later on as you see the new armor and the fact that they're not clones, you realize, oh, this is just a person. These are stormtroopers. So when you go back
Yeah.
and rewatch it, you're like, oh wow, they didn't even show this at all. They were saving that for the reveal later on that these are recruits, which I thought was really cool when I watched it again. Anything else here on our new troopers before we move right
I
along?
have one more kind of fun
Go
little
for it.
question for you. In this episode, we got Gregor's CC number, CC 5576. Which is cool. A little backstory. They're saying that kind of keep his identity like hidden
Yeah.
for the big reveal.
I
But my
actually,
question for
they
you.
might.
Oh,
I believe they have probably said that in the Clone Wars, because remember when they pull up like
okay.
his chain code or whatever on his arm, and like they show
Ah,
Rex, the Colonel was
okay.
probably like, "You're CC, blah 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 blah. Oh, you're a commando." So I mean,
Got you. Okay.
we didn't
But
remember obviously,
yeah,
so it was fine.
my question for you
Continue.
is though, because we had the scene where Tech hacks in, he's like, 50 CCs and 1,000 TKs? What are TKs? Do you think that TK number 0001 was on this base?
Oh, the
Do
very
you,
first
do you think
one.
these are the first stormtroopers?
Wow.
Because they do. We know they have TK numbers, and this is the first instance we've seen it. I like to believe TK0001 was on this base.
Wow. Honestly, I think it's equally possible that TK is there and that also the TK is not there. Because, like we said earlier, there's probably so many of these bases
Yeah, there are
on
probably
random
tons.
planets that we've never seen. But at the same time, it's very possible that this could be the first one. So I think it's completely equal in terms of whether it could be or not. It's just crazy to think about, but
The
that is pretty fun.
first stormtrooper. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just want
Um,
to propose that question.
yeah. I don't know if anybody else caught this, but I think like one of the when they were going up the elevator, I think one of the stormtroopers that they knocked down or something, like I kind of heard like a female voice come out, and I thought that was kind of cool. I feel like a lot of brands and shows these days would spend like a whole like 5 minutes being like, look, this stormtrooper is a woman and so much
Women.
cooler than this man stormtrooper.
Mhm.
But if you just slip in a voice like that, or you just make the character a female, or some other, or like a different gender, or this or that, that goes a long way in just showing people that other genders can be equally as badass, or troopers like this. I heard like all it was like an oomph from getting knocked over with another stormtrooper, and I heard like it was like there was a female voice in there, and I thought that's pretty cool. And then we moved on. I feel like that's a good way. You don't have to shove it down people's throats, because people who respect that and understand that will notice that and be like, okay, that's pretty cool. I like that. But I
Yeah.
was just, I don't know. I could be wrong. Could have just been a very high pitched voice man. Um,
Yeah.
but it
I
was it was literally just one little clip when two stormtroopers get knocked down, and you hear them both grunt, and like one of them to me sounded like a woman, and I was like, hey, that's kind of cool.
I hope, yeah, I hope that's true because that is cool. We do see with Crosshairs Elite Squad, we do have women recruits already,
Yeah,
and but again, like just throwing it in there, awesome, yeah, make a badass female stormtrooper. They kind
yeah.
of dropped the ball with Phasma, in my opinion. But yeah, that's cool. I hope that detail is true because
Yeah.
again, that's another like subtlety is its art in and of itself. So just doing that is like, yeah, like it's no big deal. There are female stormtroopers. Like, yeah, that's cool. I'm gonna have to rewatch that.
Yeah. But check this out. Speaking of Crosshair, boom. I'm just on point with the
Oh,
segue.
you know what? I knew
At
that.
the
I knew you were
end,
gonna bring
yeah.
it up, so I
Yep.
dropped. Oh man,
The setup, and I just took the layup. Boom.
we're on fire
Yeah.
tonight. Oh my
But
god.
Crosshair and Hunter at the end there, they were having a little conversation.
Woo.
Like we said before, it seems like Crosshair is showing a little bit more emotion than maybe he would right at the beginning of his turn. Like he feels like anger kind of and like
Yeah.
resentment toward the Bad Batch now, whereas before he was just kind of like a drone. I thought it was kind of strange that he actually opens the door so he can
Yeah.
talk like face to Hunter. I don't
I
know if
was
that's
gonna
like a
mention that.
symbolic thing, so that there's not like something in between them, so they're talking like person to person. He's like, I was hoping for the whole squad, but you'll do. Um, I honestly have no idea what they're setting up Crosshair to do. I feel like it's equally possible that he like tortures and kills Hunter, or it's equally possible that he like frees him. Like it's just so like the way they're playing this out is really interesting because honestly I have no idea where this could go. He could try to get the other member's location out of him. He could set him free because he's turning sides and he wants to be on their team again, or he could just straight up kill. Like we have no clue what that is leading to. He obviously he wanted the whole squad to be there, so that might help us a little bit. But like I don't know, that was a really interesting scene.
This was the like the other maybe just the highlight. Like this is what I came to see. This is awesome. Like I love that. I love the face to face macho-y macho. You know, Hunter's the leader. Crosshair's kind of the fallen angel. Like, oh, I think like you mentioned, I'm glad you brought it up. Him opening the door or the laser force field, I forget what they're called. I like that because again, I might be reading into this, but again, I feel like this is like under orders, they would never tell you, yeah, open the door and talk to him. Like, no, he's a
Right.
prisoner. Keep him locked up. He is highly dangerous prisoner, mind you, too. That would never happen if he's following orders. So I think I agree it's plausible he could be breaking them out, but I think no. It's still the vein that no, this is personal. Like Crosshair hates him to the point where he's not following orders anymore, where he's gonna open the door and kind of rub it in his face that yeah, we caught you. I was hoping for the whole batch, but we caught you. That'll do. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I loved this.
Like
It was
he's
just
beyond reason anymore.
exactly, exactly. Crosshair has been what we've seen, the guy who follows orders. He's this straightforward, straight shot shooter. Like he's that guy. And now he's just, oh, that chip's messing him up. And he's, oh, for
Mm.
me, this scene is him off the chain. Like he's gonna, I don't know, torture him. I think maybe kill him. I think maybe like
Yeah,
execute him,
right.
which would be, it would be pretty dark, but we've seen stuff like that in Star Wars. So I don't know. Even if he does break free, even if he does have a redemption arc, I'm still for it. I just think what they're doing with Crosshair, like opening that door, even though it's just so small, people probably miss it. I think it's huge. Like, I think it's awesome what they're doing with
Yeah.
him, and I
Like
cannot wait.
it's like regardless of how they go about it, it's cool that they haven't made it plainly obvious what's gonna happen. Because if you
Exactly.
like if you could tell from like episode 4, like, oh yeah, he's gonna totally like die, or he's gonna
There's
kill,
yeah.
you know. I mean that is a big theory though, is that he'll have a redemption arc and die. Or he'll just get killed because he won't turn back. But when they don't make it like super plainly obvious what's gonna happen, that makes it so much more entertaining when whatever does happen happens.
Absolutely. Yep. It makes it so much more compelling. It opens up to theories like we're doing now and
Yeah.
just like, oh, I don't know what's gonna happen next. It's
Yeah.
so cool. It's awesome. They've done it great. Like, oh yeah,
Right.
I'm so excited for next episode, specifically because of this scene.
Yeah, definitely. Um, yeah. Any last bits about Crosshair?
I just wanted to mention that. I'm glad you brought the door thing. I'm glad I
Yeah, yeah.
wasn't like the only one who caught that because like I think that is a bit of a small detail. So I'm
Right.
glad you know what I was talking about.
Yeah. The last couple things I have, I probably should have said them earlier when we were on the topics. But and we could have ended on the Crosshair thing, would have flowed better. But oh well.
Yeah, bring him up.
We had the Rex was the one that sent out the that gave them the mission to go save Gregor. Um, but the Bad Batch are asking him questions, and at the end he's like, "I gotta go. I'll send you the coordinates," and then he disappears. I
Mm,
just kind of want to know what he was up to. Like, what was like, why did he have to go so fast? Why couldn't he give them just a little bit more information? He said, "Hey, my friend is trapped. Here are the coordinates. Go get him. Okay, bye." I kind of want to know what was up. Was he like in the middle of a fight, or was he like hiding out? He had his hood up, so he's probably in
yeah.
disguise. Were there like stormtroopers about to find him or something? That was left kind of ominous. I felt like the way that he just like, okay, here's the coordinates, and he just hung up on them. Um, but I don't know. That could just be nothing. That could just be him like hiding out, being on the run.
Yeah.
But I thought that was pretty interesting.
No, yeah, I agree. I didn't really see too much in it, but I think that because in my mind, like he's kind of because of Trace and Rafa, he's kind of like I don't know if you call it networking, but I guess finding allies, putting together teams and stuff.
Networking.
Yeah,
Actually, really like
networking for
that.
the rebellion. But no, he in my eyes, like he's like I can only talk so quick. I gotta go. I got a meeting with like a smuggler or something. So like
Yeah.
I feel like it makes sense for him because he's always like he's been the leader. He's Rex. Like that's who he is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that is I glanced over that when I watched it. I think that's cool that he's no longer kind of the oh I'll go do it like I'll go save him. It's like no, you guys got to go help him out. I got other things. Like he's kind of moving on,
Yeah.
growing up into like the rebellion.
Yeah. He was like, I would, but I'm a little busy right now.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah.
he was definitely busy. I
Yeah.
guess is what we were meant to take away from that.
And my last thing, speaking of Rex, we've seen Rex in the Bad Batch, and we've also seen Gregor. That is only 2/3 of the clones from Rebels that we eventually see. Um, Now we have obviously Wolffe is the one that's left. Commander Wolffe is left. We haven't seen anything from him since his appearances in Rebels. I want to know what the heck happened to you, man. And the only reason I felt so much about it is that that's like Dave Filoni's clone. Filoni loves wolves. He named his character in The Mandalorian Trapper Wolffe. He created Wolffe because he likes wolves and the wolf pack. In the Mortis arc, on the murals on the wall, there's paintings of wolves. Like, he loves wolves and he loves Commander Wolffe. And I'm wondering, in his show, uh, why we've gotten the other clones that are featured in Rebels, but not Wolffe? I mean, is it like a sacrifice he's making for the sake of the story? Would it just not fit well in there? But I think like a character like that he kind of, is like represents him in a way. I feel like he'd kind of want to have him at least like a cameo because 2/3 of the returning clones in that group in Rebels have been, brought back in some way. Rex obviously is going to be there all the time because he's in season
Yeah.
7. He's Rex. Everybody loves him. But we got Gregor too, who was featured in less episodes of Clone Wars than Wolffe
Oh,
and
yeah,
is
much
less
less.
relevant to Filoni, the creator of the show. And I'm just wondering, are we ever going to get whatever happened to Wolffe? Because, well, we know eventually that he, was with Rex and Gregor, but like the in between, I feel like, I don't know, it being Filoni's character and all that. Well, they're all Filoni's characters, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like maybe could we see something with him at all, like a little cameo, like we got with Gregor or something? I don't know.
I will. Let me start off this statement by saying it is the official opinion of the Plocast team that Wolffe is an S tier clone, and we love him. However, and I say that because I honestly don't want to see Wolffe in this season. Because if we do, I think it would be limited. And I like Wolffe is cool. Like he's awesome. I love Plo Koon. Wolffe is the Plo bro. Like,
Of course.
um, I kind of want him to have his own like arc. Like, give me multiple episodes on how Wolffe survives. Don't make it something simple like, oh, Rex told me and I took it out. No, make him struggle. Make him and the Wolf Bat or the Wolf Pack. I almost said Wolf Batch. Him and the Wolf Patch. Like, oh my god, Wolf Pack. Make them figure it out. Like, make it a whole big thing. And if they were to do that now, it would just be cluttered. So I kind of don't want to see it.
I do agree with that, but at
Which,
the same time,
go ahead. Yeah,
we haven't gotten a confirmed season 2 of Bad Batch yet. This
yeah.
could be
That's the only thing.
one of, if not the last opportunity that we get to see characters in this art style, in this sort of Filoni world, I guess. I mean, Mandalorian is Filoni, but it's not the same. It's the animated, Clone Wars world. If there is no season 2, if there's no other show in this art style, this could be the last 2 episodes we ever get of anything in this style.
Don't
And that's
say that.
primarily where Wolffe is. You know what I mean? So
Ooh.
if we are to never get anything again, because obviously we don't know what's coming down the pipeline way beyond the stuff that was already announced. If this is the last chance for something like that, and same with Commander Cody, obviously I'd love a full Cody arc, but if this is the last opportunity we have for this art style to feature these characters, and I doubt there's any other media that would suit having Commander Cody in it. You could argue Obi-Wan, but like
Yeah.
if this is the last shot, I feel like a little something would go a long way.
Yeah.
But
Dang.
you know what I mean though, like.
And now season
Obviously, I
2.
agree with you. Obviously, I agree that it would be
Yeah.
so much better, like if we get a show that's
Yeah.
called Wolfpack. It's like 8 episodes or something, and they deal with Plo Koon getting killed, and Wolffe is like there with his guys,
Oh
like Sinker and
man.
Booster there. But
Oh man.
I'm saying like I don't know how great the chances are that we get more stuff in this art style after this season, unless there's a season 2,
That's
which
true.
is not even confirmed at the time of recording.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like it's kind of iffy whether or not that'll happen.
Dang. Oh. Dang.
And a Cody series. Oh, if Cody shows
Oh
up, Tamara
man.
Morrison's already there. You can suit him up as Cody maybe, or
Yeah.
Obi-Wan.
Oh
I
man,
don't know.
yeah.
But we've gone on long enough. This episode is going to be over an hour.
Yeah.
Unless you have any quick details here at the end, I feel like we should wrap it up.
No, let's even if I did,
Yeah.
we'll wrap it up.
Okay.
I've
Well,
said my bit.
for me, anyways, this is definitely one of my favorite episodes of the season. I
Yeah.
still do not know if it beats the pilot, but to be fair, I haven't watched the pilot since it came out and a couple days after. So, upon the rewatch, like we always say, we'll have our full rankings later on. But this was a really good episode. It's definitely going to be probably in my top 5. There was very little that I could find that was wrong with it. Just a really solid episode.
Yeah, more than anything, I said before is like this is getting us going. Like like how well this or good this episode was just gets me so much more excited for the last 2.
Yeah.
Because like how could you have your third to last episode be your best one? Like this be like this is this good. Oh, it's gonna slap this next 2.
Yeah.
So we're both super excited. Like it's good.
Yeah.
It's only uphill from here.
We've gained back the momentum that chapter 13 lost.
Yeah, exactly.
And even if the next episode is not a finale, if the last episode is an extended episode that is just one episode finale, I'd be fine with that as long as next episode continues building up and is not just random filler.
Yeah. Oh my god. Could you?
But
imagine?
it could be filler as long as it's part of the story and gets us hyped for the finale.
Yeah.
Not like last episode.
Keep the momentum going. Yep.
But yeah, I mean, there's not much more to say in terms of that. Let's move on to predictions.
Yes.
I'm gonna go wild here. Kamino Clone Rebellion. We're getting that.
Oh!
We're gonna see Boba Fett.
Dewey Mama.
I think we're gonna have one of the Bad Batch is gonna die. I don't know who, but somebody's gonna die. I'm just spitting everything out. We're gonna see Wolffe. We're gonna see Cody. I don't even care. I'm throwing it all out there because that's just how I'm feeling right now. But 80%, like not even really 80, 95% of that probably will not happen. But
yeah,
I don't know.
You gotta shoot for the moon. You'll land in the stars, brother.
Yeah. Either way, it'll be good.
Because my prediction, kind of bold in and of itself, I think next episode, and bear with me, I think Hunter dies.
Oh,
straight up.
Okay.
Crosshair executes him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Omega, if not sees, is like knows, like right off the bat, Hunter's dead, senses it. If she has force, whatever, she's gonna know, and this is gonna near break her. She's gonna be in the lowest point she has been this episode, which will set up, I'd hope, in the conclusion, the finale, some sort of redemption. She fights, earns his honor back, something. I think Omega is gonna go really down next episode and raise super high in the finale. Which is gonna suck. I don't want to see Hunter die, but I think thematically it would be crazy. My mind would be blown. It would be it would be almost the same as Thanos doing the snap in Infinity War, where you're like, oh my goodness, did that just happen? Like,
oh my god, they lost.
Yeah, exactly. I think if they do that, like Crosshair like executes him in front of the crowd, like, that would be bananas.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, does he do it publicly in front of everyone, or is it private?
No, I think maybe not publicly, but like in front of an Imperial audience or something.
Would he
Or
want to
maybe
rub it in the Bad Batch's face though?
that's what I was gonna say. Like maybe like he straight up just calls Tech, like, "Yo, what's up?" Boom,
Yeah,
or something brutal. Which,
yeah,
oh, I get chills thinking about it.
yeah. If they're gonna kill a member of the Bad Batch, thematically, it makes the most sense for it to be Hunter, because
Yeah,
this whole Omega Hunter thing they've been building up. If they want to develop Omega as one of these main characters, the member of the team it makes sense to kill the most is the mentor slash father figure. That's how it is in everything. The father
exactly.
figure or mother
Yep.
figure always ends up is being the one that dies, and that
Yep.
pushes the other character's story forward. So if they're going to kill a member of the Bad Batch, and it's not going to be Crosshair, chances are it would be Hunter.
Yeah.
We don't really hear anything from the Bad Batch at all post this time. Like once the Empire's around, OT, whatever that, none of that has any mention of the Bad Batch at all. So, like, they could all die in the show, and then that could be the end of it,
Oh,
and it would fit perfectly. So if that's how
I
they're
hope
gonna
that
go out,
doesn't happen
then
then.
yeah. So you heard it here
But yeah.
first. Hunter will die in the finale.
Yeah.
Boom,
Yeah.
calling it. We're calling it right now.
Yeah.
Oh, actually though, will he die in the finale or will he die in the second to last episode and then Omega goes like apeshit in the finale?
Yeah, I think the latter. I hope, yeah, because like if he dies in the finale, that's a super big cliffhanger for like a season 2.
Such a
Or
bummer.
maybe, yeah, that's like a huge way to end. I feel like it'd be cool. I keep saying cool and like fun, but like no, this would suck.
It'd be cool if he
Um,
dies.
yeah, right. But no, if like Omega has that opportunity to like
Yeah.
like yeah, like just go nuts, like oh I'm so mad, Hunter's dead. What is like, or just go crazy. I don't know.
Murders Crosshair.
I'm just so excited. I'm just so excited for these next 2 episodes.
Me too. All right. I think we're about to hit an hour and 10 minutes, so we should wrap
Oh
it up.
yeah.
Thank you for listening to this review. If you have all the way through, make sure to check out the reaction for this episode as well as all the other episodes of The Bad Batch and the future ones if you're in the future. We also have these longer reviews for every single episode. Once the season ends, we will be doing a season review, a season episode ranking. So make sure to be there. Make sure to subscribe so you can see all that coming out soon. Thanks for listening again. And we will see you next Friday when the penultimate episode, using that vocab word again, drops
Ultimate.
for the Bad Batch. We will be there to watch it.
Heck
Thanks
yeah.
for watching. And
Bye, little guys.
goodbye. Oh
Whew.
man, that got me hyped.
Oh, I'm so hyped, dude. I honestly, I hope he dies. Like, low key, don't hope he dies.
I
Like,
hope
really
he
don't
does.
want to die, but oh, I hope
Ah.
he dies. That'd be crazy.